Independence is great until you almost die.
Story time with Sin.
Yeah! Hello everybody, welcome to Simbib. Today I'm going to be telling you the story of how I almost died because of my giant hubris. Let me set you the scene. Moving, it's stressful. I recently moved from one end of a very large country to the other end. The whys are not as important as the hows. Let's just say I saw potential in my new domicile. The plan was simple. Reduce the amount of stuff I have so that it can fit inside one 8x7x6 U-Haul container that would be shipped across the country to my new place of residence, wherever that will be. Stuff I need to get rid of includes a giant kitchen counter, a love seat couch, a desk, and a bathroom cabinet. You'll notice that these are all large things that would be difficult to fit into a tiny container. This is fine, I tell myself. I've posted these things online. Someone will want them. The days go by, and no one's reaching out. But I'm still not worried, after all. The container's small, but it's not that small. Finally, somebody messages me about the kitchen counter. Great! I pass that on to them with no problems. No one else reaches out. Moving day keeps getting closer. I order a bunch of moving supplies, and I hop to the arduous task of packing my entire life away in boxes. Probably the least stressful thing that exists. Did you know that books are heavy as hell? Do you see these books behind me here? I didn't leave a single book behind. I had 4 boxes full of books. Just books. That's more boxes than I had for my entire frickin' kitchen. Now, I only have a 1-bedroom, so in theory that's not that much stuff. But as I'm packing it away into boxes and keeping an eye on my phone for messages from people wanting to buy my furniture, I'm starting to notice something. I may have a hoarding problem because the boxes keep stacking. And they keep stacking. And still, I have more stuff. Moving day is now around the corner. It is at this point that I take out a tape measure and tape out exactly how big an 8x7x6 box is. Okay, maybe I can do this. Might be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but I think I can do it. The container arrives the day before I'm supposed to send it off. And guys, it's tiny. I'm forcibly reminded that I have terrible physical visualization skills. I start to panic. Of the 4 things that I've needed to sell, I've sold 1. What am I supposed to do with these things if I can't sell them? There's no way all of this will fit into the freaking container. There's no way at all. Moving day arrives. My dad and a few of my friends come to help me pack stuff into it. My dad stands there for a while, looking disparaging at the sheer amount of stuff that I have. But he rolls up his sleeves and he gets to work. He's telling me what to do. He's telling my friends what to do. Stuff starts going into the container. Finally, somebody messages me about the couch. Yes, I think. Thank God, I can get rid of one of these things. I tell my dad, and he's like, you can't sell it. But why? It'll save so much space in the container. It's already been packed away. What? I go downstairs to the container, and half of all my stuff is already in the container. And the container isn't even half full yet. I have to message the person who wanted my couch and say, sorry, it's no longer available, I guess. My friends and I work for another hour or so, and slowly but surely, everything gets packed into the container. And I mean everything. Every square inch of this tiny container was filled. There was hardly any space to put my toolbox at the end. This thing was stuffed, okay? Stuffed. My dad crosses his arms triumphantly. See how I've added the sides of your shelving unit across the front? He says deviously. I look where he's wedged the support beams across the front of the rest of my stuff, neatly wedging everything into the back and preventing stuff from falling out. This will be important later. I'm flabbergasted. I'm super grateful. I can't believe he's pulled this off. But you know, he is amazing. I go back upstairs and I spend some time cleaning up my now empty apartment and buy everybody some well-earned pizza and cheese bread and spend some time contemplating if this was a good decision at all. We'll see. The first step of moving, at least, was a success. Now, it was going to take about a month or so for my stuff to get where it was going, so I had booked my flight about 2 weeks after I shipped it so that I wouldn't have to wait so long for my stuff to arrive once I got there. Thankfully, the company that I worked for had offered to help me financially with the move. This played a big role in the decision on why I decided to move at all, and they had set me up in a small hotel apartment thing, which was really nice. So I spent the next couple of weeks admiring the city and looking for an apartment. However, finding a new place to live proved to be a challenge. I had the hotel apartment thing for 3 weeks. I couldn't find a place for 4 weeks, which meant for 1 week I had to find other lodging. Thankfully, again, one of my parents' friends was on holiday for 3 months, and he'd lent me his house key so that I could stay at his place while I searched. And also for checking mail or checking his computer or whatever, stuff like that. Before I go on, I need to stress something about myself. Ever since I was a kid, I have been incapable of taking my socks off when I'm at somebody else's house. It scares me. I don't know why. It also scares me to go upstairs because I was convinced that my meager weight would be enough to collapse the ceilings. Let's just say I didn't feel comfortable being barefoot in this house, okay? Looking for a place becomes the most important thing for me because now I have to get there as soon as possible so that I can get out of here. But I did succeed and I found a new place, and eventually the date of my move-in arrives. By then, I'd accumulated some groceries like juice, fruit, rice, flour. Why did I buy such heavy things before having found a place to live? What was I going to do, bake bread? Before I get there? In somebody else's house? Or in a hotel? It was back-breaking work to get that shit to my new apartment, but you know what? Fuck it. I've done everything else mostly alone by this point. I rented and paid for the moving company. I found a new apartment. Heck, I even made the decision to move across the country by myself. I can move some freaking groceries. And not only that, I can move my stuff into my new apartment by myself. Hubris. High on the success of the first half of this story, I make my decision. As soon as I was allowed to move in, I would take as much stuff out of the container as I needed to in order to get to my mattress, so that I would no longer have to sleep on the floor in somebody else's bed. The U-Haul arrives. I direct the driver to park it in the side of my new building because there was space there. What I didn't realize was that this driveway, alley, parking lot thing was, it wasn't level. It had a bit of a slope. Had a bit of a slope of like 30 degrees. The U-Haul container was precariously parked on the slope with the doors facing down. Of course. It's okay, I say, as the U-Haul driver does their darndest to level this thing out as much as possible. I just need to get my mattress out and up the stairs, and I'll be good. Did you catch that part? Stairs? Yes, dear watcher. My new apartment did not have an elevator, and I was on the 2nd floor. But I could do it on my own. After all, it was just a few boxes and a flight of stairs. Hubris. I open the lock to my container, and the doors practically fall open due to the forces of gravity. Also affected by the forces of gravity is the weight of all my hoarding, locked in place by the crossbeam that my dad MacGyvered into place. I wish my dad was here, I thought, but it's fine. I can do this. I'll have help tomorrow. See, I only had one friend in my new city, and they were busy on the day that I was actually moving. But they were going to help me the next day to carry all the heavy things into my apartment. Stuff I couldn't get rid of, like the couch or my cabinet. I remind myself, I just need my mattress. I look around the container and try to locate it. Ah, there it is, wedged against the right-hand wall. There's only like 3 things in front of it. This will be easy. I move carefully and unwedge the load-bearing crossbeam from in front of the trailer. Nothing moves. So far, so good. Some of the boxes are slim and very heavy, which I had designed that way because they were full of glass and things that were very fragile. So I pulled them out and put them aside. The idea is I'll just put them back into the trailer after I've gotten my mattress out, and then tomorrow when my friend gets here, we'll move the rest of my stuff up. So I pull out some boxes, and I pull out some more boxes, and I pull out some more boxes. It is at this moment that I realize that my dad must have made some kind of deal with a Tetris, space-time continuum defying deity because my stuff did not fucking stop coming out of this trailer. How did he get so much in here? How did I have so much stuff? I only had a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm starting to get exhausted carrying these boxes up the stairs. Several worried neighbors, who are also moving, ask me if I'm moving by myself. Yes, it's fine, I pant. It's just a few things. I'll do the rest tomorrow. I refused to accept their help. The sky is starting to turn dark as my wits and my arms turn to jelly, but my prize is in sight. I'm almost at my mattress. If I stop now, I have to go back to that place and... No, I can do this. Hubris. Disaster. There's a shift in the boxes. One of the ones at the bottom of the stack has buckled and the whole thing is tipping forward out of the trailer directly at me. I throw up my hands to stop them. Oh shit, they're really heavy. I try to push the stack back into place. Oh shit, it's not moving. I try to see what's blocking these boxes from not moving. Oh shit, it's pitch black in here. My arms start to give way, so I step into the pile of boxes to brace them with my shoulder. Great. Now I'm trapped. I am trapped inside this small dark box, blocking the weight of all my hoarding with my faltering, exhausted body. If I try to dart out, I'll most likely trip and be crushed under my boxes. If I stay here, I will crumble eventually and be crushed under the boxes. I rotate to face the outside of the trailer and brace the boxes against my back. I don't even have the strength to do anything else. Help! Help! I stand there calling for probably several minutes. It feels like 18 years. Somebody opens a window in the building next door. I try to explain to them my predicament, but her face tells me she does not speak English. This is normal. I live in a bilingual country. Out of nowhere, two people appear from the side of the trailer and they clock my idiocy immediately. Simultaneously, they lunge forward and block the boxes, grab my arms in theirs, and yank me out of the trailer into the safety of the parking lot. Like a well-oiled machine, they start retrieving the boxes that were about to crush me, and the culprit is revealed. A bar stool had fallen behind the boxes and was preventing them from being righted. I thank the two people profusely and beg them to please, please God, stop unloading the boxes. I can't bring them inside today. I'll leave them unstacked in the trailer. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They hesitantly triple check that I'm okay and go about their day again. I think one of them said something along the lines of like, "You're very lucky that we came by and heard you yelling. It could have been a disaster." Yes, I know. Thank you. I have learned my lesson. I promise. Thank you. Yes. I sit down and rest for a while before slowly moving the boxes back into the trailer, accepting my defeat until, wait. Is that? Oh my God. My mattress was free to pull out of the trailer. I heave with the remainder of my strength and rip it free onto the pavement. Thankfully, it wasn't a full protective plastic sleeve, or it would have been way worse than it was. I did manage to still rip it, but at least, mostly, it was fine. And it was free for me to move into my apartment. One of my neighbors, who was also moving at the time, saw me struggling with this queen-size mattress and offers to help me carry it up the stairs. And you know what I did? Do you know what I did? Without hesitation, I accepted. I accepted his help. See? I learned. I slide it into the apartment and I collapse into a heap on top of it. It's the most comfortable that I've ever been in my entire freaking life. Eventually, I go back downstairs and unceremoniously shove the loose boxes back into the trailer and then close and lock it back up again. The rest will be tomorrow's problem. The next morning, the first thing I do is open up the chat app for my workplace and I put out a small request for help. Excuse me, can somebody help me? I was stupid and consumed by hubris. I need somebody else to help me carry all my shit up the stairs to my apartment. Within 10 minutes, my boss answers the message and says, "Hey, you live right nearby my wife and I. We'll come by during lunch and we'll get it all done." I thank him and I immediately delete the messages. Listen, I might have accepted that I can't do this on my own. I cannot leave my L's out in the open on my work chat app. Okay, it's not happening. At 1 p.m. sharp, a brick house and a slightly slimmer and shorter brick house show up and fill the entirety of my doorway. It's hot as fuck outside because it's the middle of summer, but my boss and his wife make short work of moving all of the remaining stuff that needs to be carried inside. I rip open the boxes and try to find some cups with which to offer them the only things that I have. My eternal gratitude and cold water, which they happily accepted. Afterwards, they invited me and my friend, who was also there and also a lifesaver, thank you, I love you, to a barbecue that they were going to have that evening, if we had nowhere else to go. I suppress tears of gratitude and silently swear to myself that I will never, ever attempt to do something like that alone again. Thanks for listening to my story. At the time, it was a really, really stressful thing that happened to me, but I learned from it. Probably. What's something that you've done that you realized later was absolute hubris? Did you get hurt over it? Did somebody else get hurt over it? Did you almost die doing something stupid? I have a lot of friends who have done some questionable stuff when they were younger, and I'm genuinely surprised that they are still alive. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. I will see you next time. Bye! Simbib, stuff I make because I'm bored. I did not go to the barbecue, though. I was too exhausted.